Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. The Movie Film Podcast, enjoy the show. Zaki and Brian are talking about movies. Movie Film Podcast on the radio.
Welcome to Movie Film. This is episode 93, brought to you by Mr. Boy Productions. My name is Zaki Hassan, and with me once more is my partner in crime and life, Brian Hall.
Hey, man. How you doing?
Platonically in life.
Yeah.
I feel like I should clarify that.
Hetero life mates.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with the, another way, but,
No, we just don't want your wife to get suspicious. That's all.
That's exactly right. She's downstairs right now. She suspects nothing. Everything is falling into place.
Nice.
So how's things going, man?
Things are pretty good. I talked a little bit about it beforehand, but I'm on jury duty this week, which is kind of a new thing for me.
Well, tell us all about everything that's going on.
Well, let me start with names. No. Yeah, that's one of the things. Literally, before you go to lunch, before you leave for a break, before whatever, they're just like, don't talk about anything to anyone. So it's one of those things I get to keep to myself. And
it's got to be. It's got to be so hard for them to keep a lid on it in the age of social media.
It's so true. And it sounds crazy, but it didn't even occur to me. But they were like, even with the attorneys and whatnot, they're like, don't look these people up. Like, don't do your own little investigations and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, like I could literally go on all these people's Facebook pages, and see their birthday parties. And, it's such a weird, it's almost impossible to hide these days. It's kind of crazy.
So now, Brian, as you've mentioned for the past couple episodes, you've been devouring the People versus O.J. Simpson show.
See.
So having gone through that, now that you're sitting in the process, are you like, I know what you're doing right now?
Holy cow! I won't. Yes, actually, that's kind of true. But also, as a juror, there's an entire episode devoted to the jury, and it made me think of that. And it was funny because they were picking the jurors, but then they kept excusing people for various reasons and whatnot. And it reminded me of that episode. And I was like, oh man, because I was number 40 out of like 53 people, and I still ended up, being included.
Really?
Yeah, I'm actually an alternate, but
okay.
It actually is sort of fresh. All that is fresh in my mind right now.
It's funny that you mentioned that episode because I'm working my way through the series, and that's actually the episode that I left off on.
Okay, yeah, that's a good one, right?
Well, the whole show, I got to say, I mean, and obviously I was already interested in the show anyway, but knowing you had so heartily recommended it, that was kind of the impetus for me to go ahead and dive in, and it is fantastic.
There's just something in the water with that show. Like they just are hitting everything correctly. Yeah,
and it's. I mean, I'm gonna sound. This is like me now being Brian from 3 episodes ago because it's like delayed reaction. But I mean, really, like the feeling of deja vu, having experienced these events as an observer. You get like, oh, it's that, and oh, it's that thing there, and right. All this stuff, and that's what's really surreal. And it's been really interesting for me to talk about the show with my students, many of whom. For them, this is an entirely new thing. Like they're aware of this as a historical document, not something that not experientially.
Right.
So for them, their experience with the show, their engagement with the show is entirely different, which I find so interesting.
Yeah, I wondered because I was so interested in it because I remember most of this stuff on a surface level.
Yeah.
And so that's what I enjoyed seeing those things colored in. But yeah, I didn't know if someone was just to jump into it cold as, like you say, like a historical document, if they would enjoy it the same way, because there is like the whole nostalgia or like familiarity or whatever you want to call it. That is, sort of appealing at the same time to just see something that you remember retold. But
and I mean, definitely we're getting insight into both the defense and the prosecution, and that's something that all we really knew about if you follow the trial. And I mean, I remember, the Bronco chase happened. That was like between my freshman and sophomore year. and the acquittal was probably sometime during my junior year. So I mean, from a year and change,
Mm-hmm.
the OJ case was everywhere. And I remember just inhaling it. I mean, my gosh, every day on the radio they had like the OJ wrap up or whatever it was called, and I would
Mhm.
listen to it. I knew who all the various players were, and Barry Sheck and F. Lee Bailey and all. I knew it. I mean, it was just something that I knew.
Yeah.
And so I'm
all the
watching
witnesses. Yeah, it's
the
Kato.
witnesses and Faye Resnick, et cetera, et cetera. Like I'm watching with my wife, and she's she had a life during the 90s, so she wasn't as ensconced in this as I am, or as I was. And so she's like, well, who's that? And I'm like, well, you see, that's so and so, and I'm going through. But it's really interesting because the one character who you really get an insight into is Robert Kardashian, played by David Schwimmer, and just what a poor schlub this guy is,
Yeah,
you really feel bad for him
he's in a very unfortunate
levels.
Position. Wait, what?
He really is.
Yeah,
well, I mean, there's a variety of things going on in the show, and you mentioned before how the show is kind of playing on the idea that this case was the beginning of the Kardashian clan's sort of like taste of fame, and
right.
It's weird to me. It's like watching a movie where you're seeing the beginnings of the zombie apocalypse.
Right.
You're like, no, I know what's about. Oh, you see this. You're like, don't go near the weird, crazy zombie guy because you're gonna get bit. This is what I see like when you have like the Kardashian kids are out to dinner and they're like getting a free table or whatever, and they're like, wow, look, we got in just like this, and I'm like, oh no, I know where this is going.
Right.
No, don't do it.
They got a taste. Yeah,
that's what it is. So folks, just echoing what Brian has said about the people v. O.J. Simpson, Dawn of Justice. I think that's the subtitle, right? Do check that out. But what else? What else have you been watching?
Well, I've been less movies. I've been sort of devouring television with between the OJ thing, Better Call Saul, and then also I actually watched 2 seasons of Fargo in a month or less.
Wow. And how do you feel about yourself?
Fair to pretty good. No, it's funny because you watch a lot of Fargo, and this is a show I don't remember if we talked about it or if I talked about
we talked about the first season.
Okay, so season 2 I went through like very, very quickly, and I had heard. So yeah, it's a very interesting show because I could see where a lot of people would be like, "Oh, what a terrible idea to make a show out of the what's regarded as a really good movie." And what I think they did was they did really well was they captured the spirit of that movie and tried to sort of do their own thing. Like they took sort of the but instead, it's not just like, oh, it's quirky people in a cold setting. I mean, they specifically borrow sort of elements or occurrences, and not the specific occurrences, but the type of occurrences that happen in the film, and they stretch it out into a whole new story over 10 episodes. And I gotta say, like 10 episodes is just perfect. Like it's just the perfect, almost like little mini series.
Yeah,
and it's well written, it's well acted, it's well directed. So season 1 was really good, really enjoyed it. And so season 2 I had heard was even better, like, kind of like Godfather sort of thing. Like, so I was really excited to start season 2. And I gotta say, I was a little surprised to not get as into it as I expected to. And I think, maybe people were hyping it up too much for me. And, but I wrapped it up, and I gotta say, it's great. Like absolutely great. If you love season 1, you're going to love season 2. It's very good television. I think I was just a little thrown because everyone was telling me just how it completely left season 1 in the dust. And I didn't think that to be the case exactly. But, it's Patrick Wilson, Kirsten Dunst, Jesse Plemons, great actors. Another really interesting story, well written, well directed. I think the toughest thing about watching this show, though, for me personally, is much like the Coen brothers movies. It's interesting to follow these sort of quirky / normal-ish, slubbish sort of people being thrown into extraordinary circumstances. But there's also the whole sort of casual graphic violence, or not graphic, but sort of like cold, emotionless, like people just get shot and die. And then, it's out of the blue and it's just sort of like that happened and we move past from it. You know, like there's no, and a lot like a lot of Coen movies. And after a while, I mean, you want to watch like 2 hours of a Coen Brothers movie, that's one thing. But when you're watching like 10 episodes and you see someone run up to an innocent person in a car and like, please help me. I'm like, please leave that guy alone. He's just going to end up getting shot. You know what I mean? And then sure enough, that guy gets killed and you're just like, oh, like after a while, it starts to get almost, I don't know, just sort of my sense of justice starts to get a little frustrated because that's sort of what these, the original Fargo and this series is sort of about, almost just about like evil is this sort of force, you know, that people are sort of they either become a part of it or they try to get out of its way. But
wow, okay.
Yeah, but it's I recommend it. I definitely recommend it. If people, you know, that sounds like something they'd be interested in. If you're a fan of Fargo, I think you're definitely going to enjoy the show. I think somehow they figured it out and they made a really good adaptation for television. So,
well, there we go.
Yeah.
Well, you have not been watching as many movies, so I've been picking up your slack.
Okay.
I've caught a whole bunch of stuff lately. Which now you did see The Jungle Book.
I did.
Well, why don't we talk about that? I mean, I have no idea what you think of it. We can talk about it without getting into spoilers. This thing just came out of, I wouldn't say it came out of nowhere, but I mean, it did very, very well over its opening weekend. It broke $100 million.
That's crazy. Yeah. I mean, that's a feat when that happens. You know, that doesn't happen all the time.
Yeah.
So I don't know that I saw it coming, to be honest.
I mean, I knew it would do well. I didn't think it would do that well.
Right.
And I think it was definitely lifted up on the strength of some absolutely phenomenal reviews.
Yeah. I didn't have a whole lot of interest in it, to be honest, until I saw all these really great reviews.
Yeah, I mean, it's at present, it's at 94% on Rotten Tomatoes. And beyond even that, it's the word of mouth is what I've noticed. I mean, I'm seeing it in my classes. Just students are talking about it. Like, did you see The Jungle Book?
Oh, really?
Oh, you got to see it, you know?
Oh, that's really interesting.
College students.
I don't know that I would have guessed that.
Well, and like for me, I was already interested in seeing it mainly because I generally like Jon Favreau's movies, notwithstanding Cowboys and Aliens.
Sure.
But everybody gets one.
Right.
But I went with my kids. It was actually on Sunday. It was my third son's 5th birthday. So for his birthday, we went, and they all loved it. And I think I might have, they really dug it, but I think I might have loved it a little more than them, to be honest. I just thought it was absolutely delightful, you know?
Yeah. I feel like we were talking about this last episode where it just feels like there's a certain type of film that they don't make anymore. Sort of like that PG kind of movie for everybody that doesn't pander to kids and isn't too dumb for adults. Like it's just kind of that perfect universal appealing movie. And this is absolutely that, I think.
Yeah.
And that's another thing too, when you say about Jon Favreau, I mean, he's a guy where it's like, is he a talented filmmaker? Like, of course he is. But like, I don't know that I think of him as like, oh, a new Jon Favreau film. Sweet. Right. But I think this has gotten me there. Like this guy just knows what he's doing and he knows how to, I would almost say he's underrated now. You know what I mean? Like the fact that his name isn't sort of thrown in there with, or I think it will be, let's put it that way. Like if you're going to make a big movie, like Jon Favreau is like a guy that you want to put your money on to deliver something special.
Yeah. I mean, I think that when you look at the stuff that he's put out, he's consistently demonstrated skill at quality crowd pleasers.
Yeah. But that aren't just, visually fun. I mean, they also all have like a really, like a good emotional component to them too.
Right.
You know, like he's a good storyteller.
And, I mean, it's one of those things that maybe we've said this before, but I mean, like definitely in the wake of the big Marvel Cinematic Universe, it's easy to forget just how good the original Iron Man is.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. And the fact that all these movies that came afterward followed that movie's model.
Right.
That was like the template.
Yeah, and you realize like Favreau gets to own a big chunk of the credit for that. He's a friend of the show, John Favreau. As you know, we
Right.
interviewed him for Chef.
Mhm.
Was that
Which is
God,
also
was that
great.
which is terrific? Was that 2013, 2014? I can't even remember.
That would likely be 14. Yes.
Okay. And I asked him about that. I was like, "Do you feel like a proud parent when you look at what's happened?" And he says he feels like the generation that came over to Ellis Island and all they had was their suitcase, and then you have like you're like the great grandparent at the family reunion, and you don't even recognize these kids and who they are, but they're all there because of you.
Oh, what a great analogy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I got to say, I mean, we haven't even really talked about the movie itself so far, but I want to add, as long as we're heaping praise on Jon Favreau, at the risk of sounding like a complete idiot, I literally had no idea that the jungle was all CG.
Really?
I had no idea. I learned that after I saw the movie, where they're like, yeah, the only thing that was real in that movie was the boy. I was like, what?
Isn't that amazing?
That's amazing. I mean, there's certain things that, of course, look,
Right.
Have to be enhanced or something. But I was like, I for sure was like, oh, was that Hawaii or was that like?
Right.
I mean, the effects in this movie. This is like, in my opinion, this is pretty much the bar. I mean,
it's astounding.
It's astounding. The environment, the lighting. I mean, the way that the boy interacts with everything, with all the CG animals and characters who look great. I mean, of course, inevitably, there's going to be a couple wonky moments because it's not real, But I mean, I would say this, like I said, I think this movie's kind of the bar. So,
and I mean, the digital effects in terms of the various animals, Shere Khan, Baloo, Bagheera. I mean, just they feel. There's no uncanny valley thing happening there.
No. Yeah. And that's another thing too. I mean, they're not, when you do something like Avatar, like they look kind of goofy to begin with. So if they move a goofy way, you're like, well, they look goofy, so it's okay if they move goofy. But these are like animals. I mean, they're trying to be photorealistic animals. So could potentially be jarring to have a tiger that moves exactly like a real life tiger, but has a mouth that speaks English, right? But
right.
But I didn't find that jarring at all. And when I was thinking back on it, was it Raksha, the character Lupita Nyong'o plays?
Yeah.
There's a part who's sort of the mother figure to Mowgli, and there's a part where they're talking. I think it's raining, and Mowgli like puts his hands on her, like right by her ears, and puts her head next to his, and I was just astounded, like the fur, like the way that it reacted to his fingers, and that it was all wet, and it's just crazy the artistry in this movie. That
particular sequence, if you look at the behind the scenes shot, it's the young actor's name is Neil Sethi, who he's like 12, and he's standing against a blue screen, and he's holding like a plastic wolf head.
Wow.
Or like a wooden, it's just a mock-up. And then that's what they turned into, this scene in the movie. And by the way, I mean, the effects work on the animals is outstanding, but really the biggest practical effect this movie has is this friggin' kid.
Right.
And again and again, I'm thinking about how Favreau had to coax a performance out of this kid who's standing against nothing, reacting to nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's seriously one of the best child actor performances I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's funny because I was thinking the same thing actually. I mean, every now and then there would be like a line where it sounded like kind of like oh yeah, he's a kid actor. You know what I mean? Like,
right. Yeah.
But I mean, that stuff was standing. I mean, he does a really really great job. His eyes just sell it. Everything that he's looking at, and I thought of this during the movie. There's a moment where it shows him as a little kid, maybe like 2 years old or 1 year old or something like that.
Yeah.
And with all what's supposed to be happening around him and this child reacting to it, it's just absolutely perfect what this little kid is doing. And it reminded me of in Close Encounters when the little boy is looking out the window and he sees the spaceship coming. And there's sort of like this famous story where like how Spielberg was able to get him to do that was he had someone dress up like a clown or no, a gorilla. And so the boy's looking at this gorilla and he's acting like curious and whatever. And then the guy took the gorilla mask off and it was a crew member that the boy recognized. So that's why he smiled. So it's like all these like tricks to get the boy to do the perfect thing. And I thought of that actually as I was watching these kids. I was like, Favreau, man, like he just knew exactly what he needed and he somehow got it out of these little kids. And like, it was really impressive.
I mean, that's certainly a testament to his abilities as a director to me, to be able to coax that out of a child actor.
Right.
Whatever tricks he had at his disposal. I mean, it really, because he was able to bring a naturalism to that performance that, I mean, notwithstanding, like you said, I mean, the odd line delivery here or there, but on the whole, he's essentially, not essentially, he's the only person in the movie.
Yeah.
And he holds our interest the entire time,
Yeah, and then well, let's talk about the movie itself. So do you have like a affection for the original Disney animated?
I would say I have a fondness for it. I wouldn't say I'm like, it's not a movie that I revisit constantly, but I mean, we all have a certain amount of fondness for the original Jungle Book because we were exposed to it at some point or another while we were growing up.
Yeah, I
think I have more fondness for Tailspin, to be honest.
Yeah, right. Well, I was gonna say I don't know that I've seen it all the way through more than once.
Okay.
So I was kind of not happy, but I was like, okay, well, that's great. Like I don't have anything attached to this whatever the Jungle Book, so I was kind of excited to go in and just see how this, with no nostalgia at all, how would this movie hold up for me? And I thought it totally stood up on its own. It was perfectly fine. There's probably references I didn't even know, which also led to two sort of interesting moments in the movie where this movie isn't a musical, but there's two musical numbers in it.
Yeah.
Right. So what did you think about that?
It didn't take me out of it at all.
Me neither.
That to me is a testament to, because I was thinking about that. I was like, well, you got to have bare necessities because it's bare necessities, and that, But I was actually wondering, like, how are you going to work that in and not have it be like a something that suddenly lampshades the fact that you're sitting watching a movie, and so that felt very seamless to me. The other song, which I can't remember the name, but it's like the famous King
I
Louis
Want to Be
song.
Like You.
I Want to Be. Thank you. Yeah, that one didn't feel as seamless to me as bare necessities.
It's funny because I agree with you on that, but at the same time, I think I love those songs, both of them, so much. Yeah. Like as much as I'm not familiar with the cartoon, I know those songs very, very well from records or something I had when I was a kid. And I just felt like it's funny. It was almost like who would want to watch this movie without those songs? You know what I mean? Yeah, it's like they do that. And so they're like, hey, we're not going to make a musical, but these are the two songs we know you want to hear. And when it was over, I was like, I enjoyed both of them. Honestly, one of my takeaway moments of the movie, was Mowgli on top of Baloo cruising down the river, singing Bare Necessities. It was freaking adorable. Like, I mean, it was just these buddies just hanging out, living this carefree life. And the boy is like slapping the beat on Baloo's stomach. It was just freaking charming as hell. It was.
Did you by any chance see Bill Murray and the kid Neil Sethi? They were on the Jimmy Kimmel show and they sang it together. Bare Necessities.
No, I would have liked to see that.
It's super cute. Yeah, you can. If you go to YouTube, that it's on there. Yeah. The two of them singing it together. And Bill Murray. I mean, if you're a young actor, who better to be like a mentor figure for you than Bill friggin' Murray? You know what I mean?
Right. Well, what did you think about that then? Having Bill Murray and Scarlett Johansson and sort of these really recognizable sort of voices. Did that, assist those characters, or did you find it distracting at all?
So, the only voice, like, I knew about Scarlett Johansson, I knew about Bill Murray. I didn't know who the other voices were before I watched it.
Okay.
And so there was a little bit of me, like, I was like, I know that voice. I know, like, I didn't pick up on, like, I didn't recognize Idris Elba's voice.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't recognize Ben Kingsley's voice. And so in a way that was a good thing because I was able to just listen to the performances. I think Bill Murray was like just perfect as Baloo. I just when I heard he was going to play Baloo, I was like, oh, duh, perfect. Scarlett Johansson was almost more like a cameo, right?
Right.
It's like she comes in and she reads like dialogue for 5 minutes, and they just send her on her way. Cut her a check for
I don't remember
million.
what her original purpose was in the cartoon, but in this one, she's really just more like exposition.
Right? She drops some expo and then takes off. Yeah. I thought Idris Elba was terrific as Shere Khan.
So good. Yeah.
And
really
what
good.
I love about the character is he's scary as hell, but you can totally understand where he's coming from.
I thought that during the middle of the movie. I was like, and that's what they always say about the best villains is they believe they're right.
Yeah.
And there were moments where I was like, I don't know if he's wrong.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, the thing that makes him wrong are his.
I mean, he does a couple of bad things.
Yeah. Like, I'm losing the words here, but like, yeah, I mean, he goes about things the wrong way, but you can clearly understand why he feels the way he feels. Yeah, which is great and sort of, frightening.
Yeah. And I mean, there's a moment near the end where essentially to an extent he's proven right.
Right.
And I mean, it's amazing to me that between his voice and, the digital animation, you were able to create this fully realized character. And I mean, really, it's breathtaking,
Yeah. So,
for me, this is like one of my favorite movies of the year so far,
Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, I mean, it sounds like that's where most people are landed on this thing. I feel pretty similar. I think, again, just like what I was saying with Fargo, I had heard so much brilliant stuff saying that it was brilliant. I hate that. I love it because I love when people want to recommend things or when I see encouraging things online. But then sometimes you can't help it. Even if you can't help yourself, you just go in and you're like, oh, this thing I'm about to watch is going to be brilliant. And that's like a really tough thing to like sort of switch off. Yeah. And it's one of those things where, this movie isn't necessarily like a traditional narrative. It's episodic, right?
Yeah.
It's about like this something, there's an inciting incident, and then this boy goes on a bunch of episodic adventures, and then it all culminates into something. And it's one of those things. So then as those things were going on, I was sort of like, well, where is this going? Like, he's kind of doing this, and then he kind of goes to that and whatever. And I wanted to turn all that stuff off in my head. And eventually I did. And then, like we were saying, I really did enjoy it. And I thought it all came together really well in the end. And I thought it was found the end very, very moving, actually, the whole third act.
Yeah.
And I thought the Baloo thing, if I had one thing, I wish their friendship had maybe given just slightly more time or something. Like they sort of, Baloo begins sort of using him a little bit, and then all of a sudden they're like best friends. And I wanted just like to see like that moment where that sort of turned over a little bit.
So maybe one more scene in one more episode.
Yeah, one more, but then of course, I mean, they become friends, and then that plays into other things, and the things that came afterward between them. I bought all of that. So, right. But I don't know. And then that's another thing. Warner Brothers has their own Jungle Book coming out in like a year or two. That's directed by Andy Serkis. So with people loving this one so much,
they have to be crapping their pants right now.
Yeah.
I mean, and the thing about it's called Jungle Book Origins - Wolverine, I think is what it's called. So this is called Jungle Book Origins, and it's directed by Andy Serkis. And honest to God, you and me, we love Andy Serkis.
Sure. Yes.
But I feel really bad for Andy Serkis right now.
Oh man, that sucks.
Because he is in an utterly untenable situation. And my understanding, by the way, is that Andy Serkis has been tied up with like being the motion capture guy in every movie being made right now in Hollywood, basically. Mm-hmm. And so he hasn't even had the time to focus in on the Jungle Book film. And now that Disney has effectively staked their claim on, I mean, Jungle Book is in public domain right now, but let's face it, as far as the audience is concerned, this is the quote unquote real Jungle Book.
Right. Right.
and they are doing a sequel, which means they've got it locked in. So this is going to be like, remember back when Kevin Costner did that Robin Hood movie?
Yeah.
And then there was like the other Robin Hood movie that came out at the same time.
I don't even remember that. I was thinking of the White Earp movie. Remember there was Tombstone, and then there was Kevin Costner's White
Also
Earp.
with Kevin Costner. Basically, Kevin Costner has the bad luck of.
Oh, wait. What was the other Robin Hood? Was that with the
Patrick Bergen?
Yes. Yep. Right.
And Uma Thurman was Maid Marian, I believe, in that.
Oh, that's funny.
And and that came out, and it was like, whatever. Well, we're gonna watch. We want our Robin Hoods to be played by Kevin Costner and have an American accent, which is what America, which is what we decided, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of an untenable situation. So we'll see what happens with that, and that's not due out till I think 2018 or 20. You know. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that just quietly went away.
Who's to say, right? I mean, that's 2.5 years or something away, but I don't know. I wouldn't want to put my money on it.
I wonder if there's somebody at Disney. This wouldn't even surprise me if there's somebody at Disney whose whole job is to just monitor what Warner Brothers has coming up and just find ways of just undercutting them at every turn.
Maybe.
I mean, would that surprise you at all if a studio had somebody doing that? Because that to me seems entirely within the realm of acceptable possibility.
I could see it for sure. Yeah. I'm sure. Some sort of
somebody's on the payroll. They're in like the deep, some bunker like 5 floors below the ground,
right?
Surrounded by computers, and all they're doing is just like monitoring they're reading the code, like in the Matrix,
right?
Of what other studios are doing.
Well,
now Jungle Book came out the same day as another film called Criminal. And let me tell you, Brian, it's criminal that this movie okay, I didn't think through how I want to say that.
I was going to say got made, that nobody saw it.
There's the beginnings of a good pun in there, but I kind of lost my nerve. Kind of like this movie, Brian.
Oh yeah?
There we go. See that? I wound it back.
I know nothing about this movie, so tell me all about it.
Well, so this is one of my rules. If Kevin Costner is starring in a movie, I go see that movie.
Okay.
I have this bizarre loyalty to Kevin Costner. I don't know why, because the truth is he's made a lot of bad movies. So by extension, sure. I've wasted many hours of my life. But so I was like, well, new Kevin Costner movie, I got to go see it. So Criminal stars Kevin Costner as okay. Well, actually, let me rewind. It starts with Ryan Reynolds as a CIA agent. He's a badass CIA agent, and he's trying to escape from these folks who are after him, and he's in the middle of some kind of operation. He gets killed. He gets killed in line of duty. That's not a spoiler because it's like first 5 minutes of the movie. Mm-hmm. So he's like dead, but his CIA people, they need to know what he knows because he was in the middle of this operation. So they take his brainwave patterns and his memories and stuff, and they imprint them onto this jailed psychopathic murderer played by Kevin Costner. And isn't this such a like this is such a movie thing to do, right? Like, hey, who should we take the murderer who's in jail? He's like chained to the wall because he's like eating people or whatever,
if this is 1985, it would have been Chevy Chase. Yeah. They imprinted this CIA expert on the Chevy Chase.
Fletch 3.
Yeah.
So the cast in this movie, it's off the charts, man. You got Kevin Costner, Ryan Reynolds, Tommy Lee Jones, Gary Oldman, Gal Gadot. I mean, it's fantastic, right? And it's just this garbage dump of a movie. That's the weird thing. Like,
I thought you said you liked it.
Well, here's the thing, Brian.
I'm a complicated man, Brian.
I am a complicated man. Here's the thing. I did not say I liked it. I did say, however, that it's this year's good Kevin Costner movie. And here's my thesis here, because for the past few years, right, we've had 2 Kevin Costner movies come out every year.
Okay.
Within weeks of each other. In 2014, if you remember, it was we had 3 Days to Kill, followed shortly by Draft Day, right? And I was
right,
like,
right.
3 Days to Kill, not so good. Draft Day, I enjoyed quite a bit. Last year we had Black or White, not so good. Followed a few weeks later by McFarland USA, which is very good, right? That's the pattern. So this year we had a few weeks ago, Kevin Costner made a cameo appearance in Batman v Superman, which makes that, by default, this year's bad Kevin Costner movie.
Was this all an elaborate setup?
No.
Like poop on Batman v Superman again?
It was not my intent. So I was like, well, based on that, this movie is better than Batman v Superman in that I didn't want to claw my eyes out and burn them in some ritual sacrifice.
Wait, so you really truly did enjoy this movie more? Well, okay, wait. What am I saying? I'm going to stop myself there. I know how much you hated Batman v Superman.
Yes.
Continue.
There are many horrible things I would prefer to Batman v Superman. So in that sense, like, this movie ended and I was like, well, it wasn't good, but it was still better than Batman v Superman. Therefore, this by default becomes this year's good Kevin Costner movie.
All right.
There we go.
Would you recommend it at all?
I would not recommend it. I had to think about that. I'm like, well, like if it's on Netflix, should you watch it? I guess maybe. To be honest, the action is like whatever. Gary Oldman, this is like the most phoned-in performance I've ever seen. Gary, he's just like screamy, yelly guy from Rise of the Planet of the Apes, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, transposed into this. This is the most phoned-in Tommy Lee Jones performance where I'm pretty sure he was half asleep.
Right.
Like he was napping and they kind of like, Tommy, wake up. And he's like, oh. And he like delivers his line. Oh, you have to, because he's like the doctor who does the surgery.
Okay.
So his and Gary Oldman is like the CIA boss. So Tommy Lee Jones is on like one level of energy, and Gary Oldman is an entirely different level of energy. So the two of them doing these scenes together, you're like, guys, let's get on the same page here, you know?
Right.
It's actually, when you think of it, it's a JFK reunion because you got Costner, Tommy Lee Jones, and Gary Oldman.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. So, and the ending is just garbage. It doesn't make any sense. It's one of these endings where you're like, you know, it's the wrong kind of like, wait, so what happens next? You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's not like, wait, I want to see what happens next. You're like, wait a minute.
Sure.
So, I can't say I recommend it, but again, it is by default this year's good Kevin Costner movie.
All right.
So there we go with that.
Well, surely that must be the only other thing you watched.
Nope. But wait, Brian, there is more.
What?
I also saw a new movie coming out, I think next week, called Elvis and Nixon.
Mm-hmm.
And this actually, it's starting. It starts in theaters this week, but it's going to be on Amazon, I believe.
Oh,
and it's about Elvis and Nixon. That's the title, Elvis and Nixon.
And this is kind of there's that famous picture, right?
Right.
We see Elvis and Nixon meeting in the White House.
So this is a postulated, fictionalized account of what might have happened leading up to that famous picture of Elvis and Nixon. And
That's
it's
exactly what I was going to ask. So it's fictionalized. Yeah,
it's completely fictionalized. Yeah, and it stars Kevin Spacey as Richard Nixon, who's just doing everything to become Nixon. He makes his neck all jowly and he's hunched over and he has the delivery. I mean, it's a really sort of masterful impersonation by Kevin Spacey playing Richard Nixon. And then we have Michael Shannon.
Yeah.
Say again?
Well, I was going to say he's really great at impressions. So
He exactly. And this is right there within his wheelhouse. And then playing Elvis, we have Michael Shannon. And it's Michael Shannon playing Michael Shannon. and you know, dressed like Elvis, basically. It's Michael Shannon not even remotely attempting to embody It's actually it's almost like it's like the most brilliant thing I've ever seen, because it becomes this weird like meta commentary on Elvis, like how we consider Elvis as this fictional creation as opposed to the man. Like you can read all that into Michael Shannon's performance, but it's actually just Michael Shannon not being Elvis.
Right. And no one wanting to tell him that he's not Elvis enough.
Yeah, I mean, like, let me put it this way, Brian. If like, you know nothing about this movie, right? And I'm like, so Brian, check it out, man. They just signed Michael Shannon to play Elvis, right? And I say that to you, and then blink, like an image popped into your head.
Yeah.
That is what's in this movie.
Okay.
You know? And
well, I gotta say, okay.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I do think it's an interesting thing. So I guess that's.
I was gonna ask, because I saw the trailer for this, and I'm fascinated by the idea, but it felt like the movie from the trailer, it felt like the movie was basically one scene, and the trailer tried to make it look like it was a series of moments. And I was sort of like, is there really a movie here? So what did you think of it? I mean, did you enjoy it? Does it feel overly long? Does it?
Okay. So in order of asking, no, there isn't really a movie here. I did enjoy it, however, and it wasn't overly long. So it could
sort of be like a good HBO movie kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it feels like about 45 minutes of an idea stretched out to, an hour and a half or whatever it is. And I mean, there's some stuff in there again about like how Elvis is sort of trapped within this persona that people expect of him and whatnot. But the thing is that we don't ever get a sense of who the real Elvis is, because the Elvis as depicted in the film, he's a little bit cuckoo bananas. Right. And so like if it's a prison of his own making to some extent. And it's hard to feel especially sympathetic to that. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I mean, granted, I'm coming at this as, I'm not like a huge Elvis fan. I mean, I like his music, fine, but it's, we don't have the same attachment to Elvis societally that there was back then.
Right.
And I actually find that kind of interesting because, for example, you look at the Beatles, like the Beatles are still beloved even by today's kids.
Right.
And you don't have that same thing with Elvis Presley.
It's funny. I've had this very thought before, because I thought when we were growing up in the 80s, or, 90s, whatever, like, yeah, Elvis was still very, very a part of the culture. Right. I mean, his music, just the whole like Elvis, the joke was that Elvis wasn't dead. He, faked his death and was living on an island somewhere. So you'd always be like, oh, I saw Elvis. I mean, that was like a punchline in tons of movies. Yeah. Elvis has left the building, just all sorts of things. I mean, that was a huge part of us growing up, but nobody does that anymore. Right. Probably because that was like our parents' thing. So they were still sort of enjoying it, and we enjoyed it through them. But then it didn't really carry over with us somehow.
It feels like that. It does feel like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, you and I are kind of like the middle generation, because the kids today have no connection to that. Whether the music or the man,
It's really interesting. I mean, for being what he was, as enormous as he was. That's funny too. Like you say with the Beatles, I think maybe the Beatles are a little more straight rock and roll sort of a thing, where they almost sound, a lot of their music sounds almost timeless in a way, like just guitars, drums, whatever, where Elvis was a little more showy.
Sure.
And maybe that doesn't resonate with everybody like it, it resonates with some people, obviously, and it is still great music, but it doesn't, I don't know.
Well, you know what it is, Brian. I mean, because I'm watching, right, and here's Elvis, and he, again, here's Michael Shannon as Elvis, and he's like, I've got to like put on all this shit like skin cream, and here's all the crap I put in my hair, and here's all this and that, and he's like wearing this like cape, and his hair is all weird looking, and he's got this crazy belt buckle and stuff. And I'm like, people didn't dress like that in the 70s. Only you dress like that, Elvis.
Right.
So
right.
who's telling you to wear that crap? And I mean, you know what I mean? Like, it's like you don't have to wear a costume to perform music.
It's kind of interesting. I mean, now we're just sort of
we're like
delving in Elvis.
The Elvis phenomenon. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because it seems like as people get older, they get a little bit more stripped down, right? Like, so if they're these crazy performers, then as they get older, then they start playing their hits just like on acoustic guitar, and it's sort of like when they had like Unplugged, in the 90s, and like Eric Clapton and all sorts of people would go on there and play all their songs sort of deconstructed. And I've always thought that too, as a huge Nirvana fan. Like, I am so sad that I never got to see what would happen with Kurt Cobain as he grew up and matured. And I always wondered what his music would be like. And I could see him sort of deconstructing his thing a little bit. So it's funny that Elvis just got more and more and more into this sort of crazy Vegas sort of thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Kind of odd. So the movie, I feel like there might have been an avenue to get into that a little bit more, and I think there's hints of that, and I think the mere presence of Michael Shannon in the role allows for that analysis, but I don't think that's more subtextual than textual.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I would almost say, like, when it hits Amazon or whatever, check it out to see Kevin Spacey's performance, because I think he's a lot of fun.
Okay, sure. I could easily see this being something that I would just sort of pop in. When I got like an hour and a half before I'm going to go to bed, and like, oh yeah, that thing.
Yeah. Who's actually, I'll be honest, who's actually really good in this is Alex Pettyfer. Who
Shut your butt.
Right. And, he's from like Magic Mike, and he was in like Beastly, I think, right? Wasn't that him?
Yeah.
And, I mean, he's not exactly known for being a great actor or whatnot, but I mean, he plays Elvis's best friend, like his lifelong friend. And really? he's like the guy who Elvis sort of drags along on his various adventures and whatever. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And, he's just kind of this guy, and he's just like, look, Elvis, man, I just want to go back to my girlfriend. I'm like going to be proposing to her. I can't be like here with you while you're trying to meet Nixon. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And he does something very smart, which is he just plays it right down the middle. And so he emerges as kind of the one normal element in this sort of sea of just, cartoonishness, And so I came away afterwards. I was like, man, I really like that guy. And I look it up, and it's Alex Pettyfer. And he really impressed me in this.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So that again, this is not a movie I would necessarily recommend either, in terms of going to the theater to see it. But I think it's worth giving a look if it ever hits streaming.
Right.
When it hits streaming.
Cool. Well, I guess that's about it, right? Didn't see anything.
Not quite.
What?
Not quite, Brian. We're on the hunt for one more new release, and
okay,
this is an upcoming release. It's not out yet. This is the Huntsman: Winter's War.
Live action Frozen.
it's Brozen.
Yeah.
So this is, of course, the sequel / spinoff of Snow White and the Huntsman a couple of years ago.
So it's not a prequel, it's a sequel.
Well, see, now this is the thing, because in all the text materials and stuff, that's what it was hyped up as. Oh, it's a prequel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it is. But this is such a typical like Hollywood thing where they're like, oh, that Snow White movie did so good. People loved it. People loved the new reinvented Snow White. They love her chemistry with the Huntsman. We should do a sequel, but without Snow White.
Right.
Like you just know the boardroom conversation that led to this, right?
Right.
So this is a prequel in that it shows us how the Huntsman became the Huntsman. And I'm not going to regurgitate the whatever happened in the crappy first movie from 2012. But I mean, if you've seen it, you know it. And so this shows how the evil queen played by, what's her name? Charlize Theron, how she came into power and that whole thing. And then it shows how, her sister, who's played by Emily Blunt, her sister used to be like sweet and nice and whatever, and then she became the Ice Queen, and she turns everything to ice, and she's very frosty and all this stuff. And so the Huntsman is one of many children who she kidnaps and raises to be her army of huntsmen, I guess. Her Huntsman army. So that's the prequel portion. Okay. So then we see the young Huntsman grow up to become Chris Hemsworth, and he falls in love with Jessica Chastain, who could not look more embarrassed to be in this movie.
Really?
I feel like every scene, her eyes, like she's saying, her mouth is saying the crappy dialogue, but her eyes are like, I was in Zero Dark 30, damn it.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, she looks like she's in a hostage tape. Right. So she's like the love interest for Chris Hemsworth. So the prequel portion ends with Chris Hemsworth and Jessica Chastain being separated through certain circumstances, and then we jump 7 years ahead. So in other words, we hopscotch right over everything that happened in Snow White and the Huntsman.
Right.
And then it's like, the whole thing is stripped down because they can't afford Snow White. They can only afford 2 dwarves out of the the 7. Like Nick Frost shows up as one of the dwarves, and they're like, "Oh, Snow White needs your help. Oh, where is she? Well, she's not here right now, Huntsman. But we need you to do this." And it's like very obvious.
Why even do that? Like call attention to it.
Why call attention to it? So it's very odd that they chose to approach it that way. But so that's and then there's like some friggin' stupid quest and whatever. It's just not good. It's It was utterly, entirely disposable. The one thing I will say, and I don't know that this is necessarily a recommendation, but Chris Hemsworth, the guy is just a charismatic presence, and even in a garbage dump of a movie like this, he's just a watchable presence,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like you enjoy watching him.
And thinking like, oh damn, he's like pretty funny.
Yeah. So he's very charming. I mean, the Huntsman is like Thor light, basically, right? I mean,
sure.
He's like, I have a pickaxe instead of a hammer, but it's like,
right.
I'm like worthy to wield this pickaxe and whatever. And it's narrated by Liam Neeson, by the way, who
really?
This is like the easiest paycheck of his career.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you?
Right? It's like, here, Liam, come on in for 5 minutes. The Scarlett Johansson's almost done recording her dialogue for Jungle Book. Once she's done, we'll cut her $5 million check, and then we've got your $5 million check ready to go. It's like Liam Neeson. Once upon a time, there was a Snow Queen, and happily ever after, and just you can tell he's like, what the crap? What do you have me reading? Keep the car running.
Did that because it's not advertised like he's in it, so he's not drawing you in. Like, why pay? I don't know, whatever.
Well, you know what it is? It's the credibility factor. Like a couple of years ago, right? They came out with that Conan the Barbarian movie with Jason Momoa that I alone went to see, and that's narrated by Morgan Freeman.
Oh, is he even in the movie?
He's not in it, right? But if you want to add credibility to your low budget Conan movie starring no one. Well, you intro it by saying between the times when the penguins come and have their mate, and right. You get Morgan Freeman, and suddenly it's a lot more like, oh, okay, So I think that's Liam Neeson.
That's true. Sure. I mean, I just think it's interesting because we got Ben-Hur, right? The Ben-Hur remake, and I'm like, what are you doing? But then put Morgan Freeman in it, I'm like, oh, Morgan Freeman's in this, so there you go, right? But when you're doing a movie like this with the Huntsman, and you're not advertising that Liam Neeson is in it, the only people who will know he's in it are people who already showed up to see it, and he's just narrating at the beginning. I don't know, it's not the same thing to me as like being able to toss him in your trailer and be like, Liam Neeson thought this was good enough to be in for 5 seconds.
Right. Well, I don't think the bar for what Liam Neeson considers good enough to be in is necessarily, he's been in some bad movies.
Touche.
He was in 2 Taken sequels.
Oh man, they're so bad.
They were incredibly bad.
Taken 3, I actively hated.
I got about half an hour into Taken 3, and then I did a Brian Hall. I was like, wait a minute, I don't need to watch this.
Right. Yeah. Oh man.
And I turned it off, and I read a book.
Yeah. Such a shame.
So moving on, there's actually one more new release. This is like new release palooza, Brian.
Yeah.
So the last new release that I saw is a new film called Keanu, and this is coming out next week.
Okay.
And it's the feature starring debut of two comedians who you and I enjoy, Jordan Peele and Keegan-Michael Key.
Yeah, absolutely. I love Key and Peele, that show.
So I'm such a big fan of that show, and so I was really looking forward to this movie. And to be honest, I didn't laugh as much as I hoped I would.
Okay.
Now that's not to say it wasn't funny, because I do think it's funny, but I was kind of hoping that my stomach would be like hurting by the end. I was laughing so hard, and it wasn't that. But what I will say is that as I was driving home, I was like thinking about, like, oh, that part was pretty funny, and oh, that thing there, oh man, that was like, and I was like chuckling to myself.
Okay.
So like the joke stayed with me, so that, you know what I mean? So this is that. So don't go in expecting to double over in pain from laughing so hard, but do expect there to be some stuff that you will absolutely like there. I could tell watching this movie there's going to be certain jokes that will become like part of the vernacular.
Okay.
Which is something that Key and Peele are very good at, by the way.
Right.
Is that. So and you've seen the trailers for this, right?
Yeah, it's funny because what you're saying is the impression I got from the trailer. Like, I know everybody was really loving the trailers, but for me, I was like, oh, I was expecting a little more.
Yeah.
So I think I'm probably going to be walking into something with the right expectations. I
guess so, right? And for those of you, if you haven't seen the trailer, it's the premise is that Key and Peele play these very suburban regular guys, and one of them has a kitten that gets kidnapped by a drug dealer, and the kitten's name is Keanu. So they are now on this quest to retrieve their kitten, and they have to pretend to be gangbangers, and it's a whole thing. And it's really just a showcase for Key and Peele to do what Key and Peele do, which is just be masters at improv.
Does it feel like that? Sort of like where you can tell they're kind of riffing and.
Yeah, there's plenty of scenes that's just, I mean, especially when they play off each other, very, very funny stuff. So as it happens, I had the chance earlier today, mere hours ago, I was in Oakland at a place called the Cat Town Cafe in Oakland, which is this is such a San Francisco thing. It's a cafe a cafe/cat shelter. So you go and drink some coffee, and there's a bunch of cats.
Well, it sounds like a pretty apropos.
Yeah, considering what the film is about. Now, the backstory here, by the way, and Brian, you may or may not know this, I am deathly allergic to cats.
I don't know if I did know that.
So when I get near cats, my skin starts getting all itchy, my throat starts closing up, my life flashes before my eyes. It's a whole thing, right? So I'm talking to the publicist setting this up, and she's like, I hope you're not allergic to cats. And I'm like, allergic to no, and because I didn't want to not interview Key and Peele, you know what I mean?
Right, sure.
So before I went to the interview, I went to the Walmart and I ate all of the Zyrtec.
Right.
I was pounding them down like M&Ms driving into Oakland today. So thankfully I made it. I made it out of there okay, and I had a great time.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, I was actually I was so high on whatever drugs I had taken that the only effects I felt were pleasant ones. So I was grateful for that, and it was a really fun time talking to Key and Peele, and I've got the audio here. So why don't we go and play that? This is my roundtable conversation with Key and Peele about Keanu.
And well, at the end of the day, there's evolution. Jeff Goldblum, dress mark.
It's pretty impressive.
How are you?
Doing very well. So just to start things out, this is your first film together. So why this? What was it about this project that made you decide to team up on the big screen?
We basically needed a way to sum up the style of comedy that we had done on our show. And we wrote this movie as kind of like Three Amigos meets New Jack City. You know, where we get thrown into this world we're just not prepared for, not ready for. And then we came up with Keanu as a way to link it all together, give it this emotional stake, and let the audience just fall in love with the mascot of the movie, really.
I was wondering what the funniest behind-the-scenes story from the production of the movie was.
The funniest?
Yeah.
Behind the scenes story.
Or maybe favorite or funniest.
Let's see.
This behind the scenes. Let's see.
I mean, it's a really we should know the answer to this. We're doing enough press.
Right, but we've only been doing press for 8 days straight. It's interesting because it's so much. There wasn't, because of the budget of the movie, there was not a ton of time to be doing practical jokes, which is what makes me crazy about studio movies. People like spend money, like production money, to do practical jokes, and we're like, we can't afford that.
There was one time where we had a 4th of July celebration where somebody bought $300 worth of fireworks and brought it to the place I was renting, and all night Method Man is lighting fireworks off of my balcony. And I'm such a fan of his, but at some point I had to be like, "That's expensive floor." It was an amazing night, but it was totally fun. I wouldn't have it any other way.
We spent a lot of time together as a cast because that's the best part about shooting on location is that you're away from home, so people aren't just jetting off to their wives and family. That you only have each other. And I remember there was that one firework that he lit that has you just like those little worm fireworks, and they come out. So there was like one that had a worm firework, but it was in a little cardboard dog's butt. And so it was like dog poop, and he was like, "Look at that, man, a dog poop." And then he was looking at the dog poop, and he was like, and we walked away, and we're like, "Is that all it does?" And then Method Man goes, "Is that all it does?" And swinging, jumping, he was like, it's like, do you remember that one?
I don't remember.
This thing, he was like, "Is that all it does?" And he walked up to it, and then it exploded.
I was probably hiding.
So pretty much 4th of July. 4th of July was... But behind the scenes was always a lot. I mean, we were shooting a movie in New Orleans in July. So this is what was happening backstage. Just tell me when you're going to say action and we'll be right there. Just everybody, just tons of sweat. Yeah.
When you were coming up with a concept and a story for this, did you have any humanitarian intent, or is it just sort of kind of evolved after the production with, adopting the 7 to 8 kittens that you used for the film, encouraging rescuing specifically cats, but all animals? I mean, was that something that was in your head?
Yeah, we knew. I knew pretty early that this movie, it wasn't during the writing process, but once I had the script, I knew pretty early that we needed to preach the adoption of cats with this movie. We love all animals. I have a dog. We're dog people too. All animals in need, but as a joined message, I think Keanu and go adopt a cat is a good easy piece of.
Yeah, I mean it dovetails right into each other. Yeah.
With training 7 kittens to pretty much do the same thing, what were some of the hardest things that you were trying to get these kittens to do that just wouldn't work on set?
Well, it's the hardest thing sometimes would be the kittens that were trained, the 2 or 3 that were trained to do stationary movement. So you had to get them to, it's like you're the camera, and it's to get them to go like this on cue. You know what I mean? It's that moment. And there is one scene, I think, tell me if this is the hardest, because being there, it seemed difficult. April was having a bit of a time with that one kitten to get him to, because Jordan's in jail, and then there's the plexiglass, and the kitten puts his paw up, and he puts his hand up on the glass.
It's like the E.T. moment.
It's the E.T. moment, right? And so for that to happen, and this kitten was just like, and
I was missing my mark sometimes.
And April's
the kitten
here,
was perfect.
And April's here just going, what action, and disappear, and the cat looking at her, and he's looking at her, and he's looking at her, and he's looking. She disappears, and then he goes like this, action, and then it's like it's as if he knew we were saying that maybe what we should do is tell him what not to do,
Yeah.
and then he'll do what we want him to do. And that was a tough one for
It was,
him.
it was like a Looney Tune.
Yeah, it was the Michigan J Frog
Michigan
situation.
J.
But because he's such a brilliant improviser, it was fantastic because he would just keep noodling. The cat would turn around, walk away, come back into frame, and Jordan just like, Keanu, what is it over there? No, that? Oh no, I see it too. I see that really interesting thing over there as well. But that was tough. But the cats were the thing that seems the hardest was the easiest, which was them running while there's explosions happening around it. You know, it was so crazy. You're like, well, that seems like that would be difficult, but it was all like the stationary stuff that was difficult. Yeah.
Well, the best thing about a cat video are those little. When a cat does something that's imperfect, it's such a graceful animal.
Yeah.
So any kind of moment you catch with a cat being clumsy or, sneezing or something
like falling
it's
off
just going
the
to be
tables.
gold. So we set this movie up in a way so that we're just going to capture the cat doing what cats do, and put them in the right place, put performances in the right place.
Yeah.
Peter did a great job.
So you're in Oakland, it's 420.
My mother's birthday, by the way.
Oh.
Ironically, my mother, the substance abuse counselor. It's her birthday today. I had to explain to her on the phone, Mom, I'm in Oakland, California, and it's 420. Do you know what that means? I don't, dear. I don't know what that means. I'm like, well, I'm going to explain it to you, and you're going to find it very ironic. Yeah.
So we have a few open positions for her here. So how much catnip was used on the set? Did that help in terms of activity? And I'm just being sarcastic about catnip. But it really is 420. You're in Oakland. And the themes around Keanu is just really, Keanu, I'm sorry. It's just very interesting. So
I don't think there was any sense of the movie ever, if I'm understanding. There's no sense of the movie being a stoner movie or anything like that. I think that the name of the film actually is to connote homage to the type of movies that we really love, the type of movies that made us passionate about movies. And so, not to be combative, but when movies were being made in a way when we thought movies were still good, when they were really good, and people were putting a lot of effort into how films felt cinematic. And we're talking like the mid-90s. So even your standard action film in the mid-90s didn't feel rote. There was always more care, there was more pizzazz put into it back then. And so the name Keanu, which of course is synonymous with one person, it also becomes synonymous with a movement of certain types of films that were being made at that time. And so, yeah, like I said, it's homage in a way.
Movie poster.
So when you look back at the TV show, I mean, I spend day in and day out. I'm with college students, and usually whatever lesson I'm teaching, I find a Key Peele clip to show, and it speaks their language, and it's become kind of ubiquitous. Did it ever even occur to you that the show would be so everywhere when you started doing it?
It's hard to see what exactly a sketch show is going to look like in the beginning. I think if we had to guess, we would have gotten as close. But the thing we certainly couldn't have foreseen is the way it worked online. I've never really seen anything like that. And what we set out to make a TV show ended up being this online phenomenon that was the bread and butter of what we did. That's why we have so many families that come up to us and say, look, I got introduced to this by my son, I got introduced to my uncle, my brother, and it's this weird familial experience. So that part I could not have predicted.
When you look back at it now, it seems obvious. The modular nature of the show would lend itself to the internet. Yeah. You're not thinking about that when your nose is to the grindstone and you're creating it. Right. So I'm just agreeing with him, just extrapolating from that.
Alrighty, so Keanu comes out a week from this Friday, so 4/29.
All right, looking forward to it.
And today, by the way, as you heard in the interview, today is 4/20, which is ironic if you're of the marijuana sampling persuasion. If not, then never mind. So hey, we got some new trailers. You want to talk about them?
Yeah, let's do it.
So yesterday, brand new trailer dropped for Antoine Fuqua's The Magnificent Seven.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, have you ever seen the original Magnificent Seven?
I have.
Did you like it? What do you think of it?
Yeah, it's one of those ones, like I didn't like grow up with it or anything, so it's not like embedded in my brain, but it's like a classic, and I got it off of Netflix, when I was going through all the that was the best thing about Netflix, was like putting all those movies that you knew you should see, and then you could finally start to go through those, and this was one of those. So I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the original. It's directed by John Sturges, Yul Brynner's in it, Steve McQueen, James Coburn, real like a cast of people who were or ended up becoming like pretty big stars. Mm-hmm. And so when I heard they were doing a remake, first of all, I'm like, God damn it, MGM, because that's all MGM does, right?
Right.
Is they dig into their closet and they're like, hey, how about a remake of this, whether it's needed or not, right? We have, Ben-Hur is coming out. We were just talking about that. That's another one of these needless MGM remakes. And, MGM did a remake of Rollerball like way back in the day, and then they did Red Dawn a couple of years ago. These are unnecessary remakes, right?
Yeah. I didn't realize. Yeah, you're right.
It's what they do because they have no new franchises. They're just trying to find, old IPs that they can repurpose. So when I heard they were remaking The Magnificent Seven, I'm like, why? And then I heard that Antoine Fuqua was going to direct it, and I was like, okay, well, that's kind of interesting. And then I heard that Denzel Washington was starring, and I'm like, you know what? Take my money.
Right.
Right? And then you find out Chris Pratt is in the cast, Vincent D'Onofrio, Ethan Hawke, and you're like, take even more of my money.
Right.
So I was like really looking forward to seeing the trailer, and I have to be honest, I was very pleasantly surprised. I think this looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This is, if you were going to have like some sort of modern action Western with these dudes, like this is what you want to see.
Yeah. Why don't we play some of the audio from that?
Mm-hmm.
Sir, I have a proposition. We're decent people being driven from our homes. Slaughtered in cold blood.
So you seek revenge?
I seek righteousness. But I'll take revenge.
So, you know what I like about this is just the idea that we're getting Denzel in a Western, because I'm pretty sure we've never gotten that.
Yeah, any Denzel I would like these days, right? You don't see him as much anymore.
Yeah, I mean, well, like
he used to.
I mean, right? Equalizer, right?
Mm-hmm.
What did he do after Equalizer?
Did he do anything after that? I don't know.
So he went straight from one Antoine Fuqua movie to is he just Antoine Fuqua's guy now?
Maybe.
Because he's going to be doing the Equalizer sequel next. The Sequelizer. Please let that be the title of that movie.
That is hilarious. Okay, hold on. Here we go. Okay, so yeah, Equalizer, and then he did something called Fences, which is still in pre-production. Magnificent Seven, then Equalizer 2. So yeah. Oh, he did Two Guns before that, which I kind of forgot about.
Two Guns, which was good. I like that movie.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's interesting that Chris Pratt is in here, because I'm wondering when he signed on and if they got him before he blew up.
I feel like it was after. Who knows what really goes on behind the curtain, but I feel like I remember after I was sort of more aware of him because of Guardians. Then I thought I remember him being added to this cast or hearing it announced.
Okay. Well, and this one is coming out in the fall. And by the way, we mentioned this in a previous episode. Magnificent Seven will end up being the final film score by James Horner.
Right.
Remember that he composed it before he died. They hadn't even finished the movie, but just based on the script, he composed the music.
Yeah.
So kind of a little piece of history there, if for no other reason than that.
Yeah.
Another trailer here is Jason Bourne. This is the fifth Jason Bourne movie, and the fourth Jason Bourne movie actually featuring Jason Bourne.
Right.
So let's play some of the audio from that.
I know who I am.
When we are finished with you, you'll no longer be yourself.
I remember everything.
Remembering everything doesn't mean you know everything.
Tell me.
Okay, so Brian, this one we like watched it like just before we went on.
Right.
So I have no idea what you thought of this. I have to be really honest here. Like I think it looks fine, but it didn't really blow me away.
You know what? I'm gonna put it out there. That's kind of how I felt about all the Jason Bourne movies.
Wow.
Yeah, I love the first one. Yeah, well, I was gonna say I love the first one, and they show clips of the first one in the trailer, and that I was like, yeah, I remember that. All that crazy fighting style was really great. Second one, I don't remember a thing about it. Third one, and I'm not slamming these movies, by the way. I'm not saying I dislike them. They just really leave no impression on me. Third one, again, don't remember much of anything about it. They're totally well done action films that I just don't think about the second I leave the theater.
Sure.
So that's when you tell me there's a new Bourne trailer, I'm like, all right. Like, you know what I mean? Like if I don't catch it, that's fine. You know what I mean? I'll probably go see it anyway. But I will say, yeah, the trailer I thought was it kind of had the feel that I was expecting. Kind of looked like I expected it to. Could have been clips from the other films I wouldn't have known. But actually, I think you were watching me watch it because you were waiting for me. And then at the end, that whole chase sequence through Vegas, I was like, okay. That actually was pretty sweet. So if anything, it looks like there's going to be some pretty awesome car chases in this one. So, and I mean, and they're never bad, right? I'm not saying these movies. So I'm sure there's going to be like a really quality action movie waiting for us here with this. So,
yeah, I mean, I think I'm basically on the same page with you in that you have a good time watching it, but then you're basically done with it.
Right. Like I know there's some sort of through line story to all three of these. I don't know what it is. I don't remember.
You almost wonder, like, why would you want more than that out of an action movie? Like, if you watch it and you have a good time and you're engaged mentally, well, then that's a good thing. It's like, why expect more almost?
Yeah, depending on what it is. I mean, for these, if there was some sort of powerful mystery that was going on throughout all of them, that was like there are pieces of a puzzle, which I'm sure they are, but I'm just saying I don't remember them, and it doesn't ruin the movies for me. Like they're just three individual, well done action films for me. That's great, but like, you know, I when you to what you're saying, I think it is nice if a movie does try to be something that you think about, you know, and if there's going to be 3, 4, 5 of them, if I know how they all connect together, I mean, that's sort of like Marvel, which I guess is a unique example, but you know, it's kind of nice knowing how they all connect together.
A better comparison, obviously, to Jason Bourne is James Bond. And I think
but those are okay. Yes, sorry. Yeah. I see. Like the new ones,
like Bond, like I'm as big a Bond fan as they get, right? But I mean, Bond movies, you watch them and you basically leave them in the theater.
Yeah, but they're like their own individual adventures, right? Like they're not
sure.
What I guess. Well, no, you know what? This just shows how much I do not remember about these movies. Maybe they are their own adventures. I don't remember. I think it's some sort of conspiracy that he keeps trying to uncover about why he lost his memory, the organization he belongs to.
Right. There's an overarching conspiracy, but each film has its own story.
So it's sort of like a Law and Order episode where there's like the crime, but then every now and then you'll get a little tease about what's going on in their life. But it doesn't really matter.
I think you're the first person to ever compare the Bourne movies to a Law and Order episode.
I'm probably making a lot of enemies right now.
But, yeah, I know. We're getting nasty. How dare you? I love Jason Bourne.
Yeah,
Jason
that's great.
Bourne fathered my baby. You're gonna get one of those emails
again.
Yeah, but so that comes out this summer.
Man, I am so unaware of what's coming out this summer.
I'm like my dates and things are all screwed up, but I mean, it's kind of interesting because Universal had like a knock your socks off summer last year. It feels like this year they're very understated because I don't think they have any major marquee titles other than Jason Bourne.
Yeah,
I mean, nothing comes
Yeah,
to mind.
I mean-
I'm sure there's more, but I mean, that's the only thing that comes to mind.
Yeah. Well, it's last summer, Fast and Furious, obviously, kind of a huge thing. Straight Outta Compton, Jurassic World. I mean, yeah, it would be nice if this summer we don't know exactly what's coming because they were all sort of newer films that aren't franchises yet that could become franchises. That would be exciting.
What a concept. All right. So, I mean, what else can we say about Jason Bourne? There we go.
Wait, what did you say? So you're just sort of like,
I mean, it's like I'm going to watch it. I have no memory of the Bourne Ultimatum.
Uh-huh.
I am like Jason Bourne in those movies when it comes to my memories of those movies. So I'm thinking, well, I guess, I mean, when did Bourne Ultimatum come out? Like 07?
Wow.
Right?
Really?
I think it was 07. Yeah, it was 07. In fact, it was summer of 07. So, I mean, that's like almost 10 years ago, right? So it's like, I'm kind of like, all right, well, this will give me an opportunity to revisit those films. That might be kind of fun. Might be fun to do like a retro review series.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I think about the new one.
All right.
And I do feel like, by the way, I feel like this is Matt Damon's farewell. Like, it doesn't feel like he's back for more adventures. It feels like he's back for one final adventure.
Right. Close the book.
What's that?
Yeah, close the book on this.
Yeah, I get that sense. Maybe I'm reading more into it. But even the title feels like that. Like it's now he's complete. He's Jason Bourne now. It's the end of the road kind of thing.
We'll see this summer.
We shall. All right, so I got some headlines to discuss. The Power Rangers movie. Power Rangers, the motion picture, whatever the hell it's called. I don't know what it's called. I know that people are really, really, really excited about this. And I know some of our listeners are huge Power Rangers fans. So I don't want to denigrate something that they love. So I'm not going to.
Next in news. No, I was kidding.
And now 30 seconds of silence.
No, well, so that's my question because, we've talked about this. We don't have much of a connection to this, property, but I want to know, what about your students? What is the age group for this movie? It seems like for me, it's people who are almost our age.
Yeah. So Power Rangers,
like late 20s kind of a thing.
Power Rangers started in 1993, early 93.
Okay.
Right. So, essentially it's now 23 years old, right? So if you were watching it at the time that it came out, that would mean you were born in the mid to late 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's kind of the target demo. But bear in mind, Power Rangers has been, it's not like it aired briefly. I mean, it aired for at least 10 years.
Yeah. And there were many different chapters.
Right.
Yeah. And spin-offs.
But my understanding is that the version that this film is going to be doing is the original, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And of course, Elizabeth Banks is starring as Rita Repulsa, the villain. And we talked about this before, where it's like, what, does she need the money that badly? We're like wondering what her financial situation is, because
it's an
she's doing
interesting choice for her.
Yeah, it's different. And so they released a picture of her, and I actually pulled that up and I showed it to my students, and they're like, "What the hell is that?"
Oh, really?
Because if you see it, I mean, we're on a podcast, so you can't see it, but Google it. She looks nothing like the the Rita Repulsa from the old TV show.
No, she looks like the villain from the movie Species.
She does look like the villain from the movie Species. Good call. Very true. Yeah.
Not my original idea, but yeah, it's
okay.
good.
Well, then not a good call, Brian.
Just good kidding. Plagiarism. It was. Validate me.
So I showed that to my students. They're like, "That's not Rita." They're like real upset. I'm like, "Have you seen the original Rita? Do you want Elizabeth Banks wearing whatever the hell the original Rita was wearing?"
I see. See, I thought you were saying that because they have no idea what this is, but it's because they are fans of the show and they think she doesn't look like the thing they remember.
Yeah, like I'm objective in the sense that, like, I'm not even objective because I'm actively finding the notion that they're making this movie hilarious.
Right.
But I get it. I totally get it because, I mean, whatever. Like, Transformers is our demo, so fine, whatever. but you can't dress up Elizabeth Banks in that goofy costume that the Rita character is wearing. It looks ridiculous.
Right.
So if you were trying to like serious it up, well, this is what you do.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's kind of cool to see what they're doing with it, but for us, I guess it doesn't really mean a whole lot.
It does not. So this is going to be a weird situation where periodically we will be talking about this film as new developments come out, and we'll be like, "Hey, so do you care? No. How about you? No. All right, moving on." There's going to be a lot of that between now and whenever this movie comes out.
But wouldn't it be cool if they were putting together something that was really great?
You know what? I'm going to be watching it because, I mean, we're going to be talking about it. So, we've said this before. I want nothing more than to go in and see a movie I'm going to enjoy.
Yeah, I would hope so.
So, maybe I'll be surprised. I mean, I watched the original Power Rangers movie from 1994, 95, whenever that was, with Ivan Ooze, played by Paul Freeman.
Okay.
And it was terrible. Maybe this will be better. That's the bar I'm setting. Be better than that other terrible Power Rangers movie.
That's what's so interesting about it. I mean, to me, I don't know those movies at all, but that show was so very weekday afternoon TV.
Yeah.
So it just makes me wonder what the tone of this is going to be. Is it going to be fun? Is it going to be sort of serious? Is it going to be like what? I'm just curious. Is it going to be goofy?
I mean, if I were to guess, it'll be in the vein of like the current Ninja Turtles movies. That's my prediction.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So I guess we'll find out. Other news before we move on to the Star Wars news feature that we have every week. Avatar, a franchise that's hoping to compete with Star Wars. And by hoping to compete with Star Wars, I mean that eventually it'll make a sequel. Just as we're like this is the funny thing because Avatar came out in 2009 and James Cameron's like, I got a sequel on the way, and we are now what is it, 7 years removed from the original Avatar,
right?
And there's not one sequel that has come out, and every couple months it feels like James Cameron's like, by the way, sequel is on the way, and he keeps like increasing the amount of sequels that are on the way.
That's what's funny, isn't it?
It feels like a threat at this point. Where he's like, listen, you assholes.
Well, that was his big announcement.
You don't want one Avatar sequel? Well, F you people. I got 4 Avatar sequels coming. You like that?
See, that's what's funny because everything works, well, not everything, but things mostly tend to work in trilogies, right? So it was crazy that he was going to make 3 more after the first one. It's like, oh, wow, that's okay. He's got a few ideas, it sounds like. Right. But then to hear now that he is making 4 movies in addition to the first movie, I mean, he's got some sort of saga in his head. And what's crazy about it too is, did you read about how they're going to be filming them?
I did not.
So they're going to film them all together, meaning he was saying we could be filming one thing one day from movie 2 and then something from movie 4 the very next day. So some actor, will have to remind them like, no, that person's dead and you feel this way about this and blah, 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 blah. They're going to treat these 4 movies as one enormous movie, which sounds
I picture
bonkers.
Sam Worthington like chained up in a dungeon somewhere, just desperately trying to like get a message to his family.
Why? He's probably like, thank God for this.
I think I just think like, he probably has no idea what the hell's going on.
Dude,
they're like, I mean, because how long have they been making these movies?
You mean prepping them?
Yeah.
Long time.
I mean, I feel like Sam Worthington is on standby.
Probably. But I mean, that's the thing.
2010,
think about this though. Like if you're Fox and you are making a sequel to Avatar, that's probably going to be a crap load of money, but you're expecting, okay, well, it's going to get X amount of numbers. You could probably do math and realize you're going to recoup whatever you spend on it. But to plunk down, to bet on 4 movies all up front, who's to say, right? Like, I mean, maybe the second one's great, right? And then the third one isn't. And then the fourth one kind of isn't. And then the fifth, you know what I mean? It's like sort of like the Divergent series, you know, where it's like the last movie, it's like the second to last movie didn't even make like half of like opening weekend or something crazy.
Yeah.
The first movie.
And they're stuck. They're stuck now because they have to finish it.
They still got to make another one. Yeah. So it's just this unlikely that will happen with this, but still, it's a crazy gamble.
It's just, you know, here's to me, first of all, I'm not going to be the guy who bets against James Cameron.
Right.
Because he manages to constantly, you know, prove everyone wrong. However, I mean, the thing is, make as many sequels as you want. That's fine. But get something out there in the marketplace. Like, keep this franchise in front of people's eyes so that there is an appetite for more. Because, I mean, again, this is not a new conversation you and I are having, right? What currency does Avatar have?
That's true, but I have no doubt that by the time this movie comes out that we won't be completely bombarded with it, right?
But, I mean, it's like, even when that movie came out, was there a bunch of merchandise? Like, did the merchandise do well?
Well, I don't know that there's going to be, in the same way that Star Wars, those sorts of things, but I'm sure we'll just hear all about it everywhere. It'll be news items on the front page of Yahoo. It'll be advertisements, you know, I don't know. I mean, I without a doubt. Right.
Well, I guess we'll find out anyway. They're making these movies whether we have any say or not. So here's my prediction though. Before the first of these sequels come out, he'll have upped the number of sequels on the way to like 18.
Well, who knows? You know? But you know, actually, one more thing about that is sort of maybe makes it a little more enticing is that they aren't necessarily, I don't have his exact words, but he was saying one movie could take place, it's in the universe, but they don't have to be directly lined up.
Okay.
So it could sort of hop around, but they would all sort of interconnect within the universe. And it's like, well, all right. I don't know.
But how interesting is this universe so far?
I don't disagree with you, but I would more so say, how interesting are these characters, right? Like, I don't really care too much about Jake Sully.
Right.
So
I'm amazed you remember his name. That's impressive in and of itself.
I couldn't forget it. Jake Sully. But yeah, if they hop around and there's like new people to meet, you know, I don't know. There's something that opens it up a little bit with that. I think that could be interesting. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, moving on. Let's talk about a franchise that we are interested in. I'm talking Star Wars. Brian, cue the music.
Hey.
That's the good stuff right there. All right. So the big question after The Phantom Menace came out. Sorry, did I say The Phantom Menace? I thought it was the year 2000. I thought it was the year 2000.
Yeah.
The big question after The Force Awakens came out, thank you, is who are Rey's parents, right?
Right.
Who do you think Rey's parents are?
I don't know. It's kind of funny how, you know, like a month or two after the movie came out, I mean, at work, at lunch, we would talk about it and we would be like sort of passionate about it. You're like, no, because it could be da. And now I'm just like, I don't know. We'll see when the movie comes out.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Well, so essentially, so J.J. Abrams was at like an event, right? And I want to say he was being interviewed by Chris Rock.
Yeah, Tribeca Film Festival.
It was at Tribeca. Okay, so basically, Chris Rock, who's a big Star Wars fan, goes, "Who are Rey's parents?" And J.J. Abrams says, "Rey's parents are not in Episode 7." So I can't possibly say in this moment who they are, but I will say it is something that Rey thinks about too. So naturally he says that, and it rockets around the internet, right? Faster than light speed. And then J.J. Abrams clarifies.
Right. Well, and because it's such a big deal, because everyone is speculating, is she a Skywalker? Is she a Solo? And those people were all in episode 7. So,
So if he's saying her parents are not in episode 7, that rules out her parentage.
Everyone we know, yeah.
Everyone we know, yeah. So he said, he later clarified. He says, what I meant was, she doesn't discover them in episode 7. Not that they may not already be in her world. So here's I'm just gonna put this out there, Brian. I call bullshit on the clarification.
It's funny because I'm looking at the quotes side by side, and he says Ray's parents aren't in episode 7.
Exactly right. That's I call bullshit on it. What do you think?
Wait a minute. You think Max von Sydow? Right? It's so random that he's in the beginning of that movie. Maybe he's her like grandfather.
I mean, that's a possibility, right?
I don't know. So yeah, I who knows? I feel bad for him that he's going to have to answer these questions for the next 2 years.
Well, but I mean, I don't feel that bad for him because I'm sure he
but you know what I mean.
Well, but here, this goes to what I've said. Okay, I've been saying from the moment episode 7 came out that the way that movie ended, it's too obvious that Luke is her father.
Yeah.
So why not make that explicit unless he's not her father? So as far as I'm concerned, what Abrams said in Tribeca, not including the quote-unquote clarification, just confirms what I said.
Mm-hmm.
That they're going to swerve us a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, those other Solo and Skywalker just almost seemed a little too obvious.
Too obvious, right?
Yeah.
That said, I'm fairly certain that they know who she is. Han Solo, I'm almost 100% certain knew who she is.
I think so. I got that impression just from his performance.
Well, and
the way he looks at her.
The way he looks at her, and there's when they're in Maz's place, and she's like, Maz is like, "Who's the girl?" And like it's like they cut away right before Han answers.
Right.
And it's he's about to say something we don't want you to know. Cut away.
Right.
You know what I mean? So there goes J.J. Abrams with his mystery box again. He's stuck in his own mystery box.
Right.
He can't get out of it.
That's funny.
Now, another interview with J.J. Abrams revealed how Harrison Ford getting injured on the set of Star Wars, he actually attributed that to improving the movie, which I'm sure, by the way, Harrison Ford was like, oh, really? Well, I'm so glad that shattering my leg was the missing ingredient,
Right.
Now, this is kind of interesting. So what was he saying in this?
Well, he was saying that prior to Harrison Ford hurting himself, the script was a certain way. They were shooting the movie a certain way where I guess Rey and Finn on the Millennium Falcon were a bit more, in his words, contentious. And he was feeling
with each other or with Han?
I believe. Well, that's a good question. It just says he just says it was contentious. I think he says we started to do work with Rey and Finn. The first time we did it, it didn't work at all. So he's talking about Rey and Finn here, saying so they're probably bickering more, where it could seem perhaps like fun and playful, and these people hate each other, then they'll love each other. But it sounds like he was realizing on the break that it just wasn't working, and it wasn't creating the relationship that they were hoping for. And so with that time off, they were able to rewrite and get the relationship to where they wanted it to be. And I think most people would agree that it got to a place that everybody likes. So
they're filming on the Millennium Falcon. It's not really working. The hydraulic door lands on Harrison Ford's leg, shatters his bone. He doubles over. He's screaming in agony. Meanwhile, J.J. Abrams is like,
this isn't working.
Yeah.
I see an opportunity.
Harrison Ford is like clawing at the sky, begging somebody to give him morphine,
Yeah. And JJ's like, I can fix my film.
That's right. Thank God,
Yeah, but he says they actually reshot it from the ground up, those scenes. So it sounds like they had a lot of opportunities to patch up this movie, doesn't it? The more and more you hear about them talking about it.
It definitely feels like somebody was looking out for him. You know what I mean? Like
for sure.
the fortune shown on this film. How many times have you watched it, by the way, since it's been on Blu-ray?
Just once on Blu-ray.
Yeah, the whole way through. I've been going through the digital copy, and I'll just jump to random scenes and stuff. And I mean, people like dog on the lightsaber duel at the end. I actually really like it.
I like it too because it's not the
different.
most action-packed lightsaber fight, but it's emotionally packed, which I really enjoy.
And the locale is something different, and there's just some different dynamics at work. So definitely, it's something where, it's weird now. Like for me, having it at home, suddenly the Phantom, I keep calling it the Phantom, the Force Awakens has entered the same language of the original films, where now this is part of the sequence now.
Yeah.
It's weird to like have it on your shelf.
Yeah, for sure.
So I enjoyed it, and it's funny because when we talked about the home video release, I was like, oh yeah, I had it pre-ordered on Amazon. I ended up canceling my pre-order, and I bought a digital only copy.
Someday I'll get there. I don't know what it is. I know what they did wisely with this one. For me, it's like special features, because I actually do listen to commentaries of movies that I like, and I like going through.
No commentary on this, is there?
Well, I was just gonna say, and special features and deleted scenes. Usually, like if I buy a Blu-ray, it's like a week event for me. Like I watch the movie, and then like a little bit each night, I go through all the special features, and then it's kind of like oh cool, kind of thing, a little event. And typically the digital copies don't have those sorts of things, whereas The Force Awakens did, which was kind of unique and wise, because then there was really no difference between the physical copy and the digital copy.
Yeah, that was my rationale, because what Disney did with Force Awakens was kind of interesting. They put out the digital copy on a Friday, and then the following Tuesday the Blu-ray came out.
Mm-hmm.
And usually there's a 3-week window between digital and Blu-ray. And I thought that was kind of interesting, but I think they recognized that they needed to cut that shorter. But so I had my Blu-ray on order, and then I saw that the digital copy was actually slightly cheaper than the Blu-ray, and all the special features were included.
Yeah.
And
how do you access them? Is there a menu, or how's that work?
Well, you have Vudu, right?
Yeah.
So on Vudu, you select the movie, and then it opens up like the page for the film, and there's the movie, and then there's all the other stuff.
Yeah, like a folder or something.
Like a folder, exactly. So I was like, here was my rationale. I was like, you know what? I want to get the box set of like the trilogy.
Right.
So I'll just buy the digital copies now, and then down the line I'll get the box set. That was how I rationalized it. And the truth is, I have not missed not owning the Blu-ray. So that, make of that what you will.
Right.
But regardless, that's our Star Wars news for this week. And I think that's our show for this week too, Brian.
Yeah.
A lot of interesting conversation, and we've blazed through a whole bunch of new releases, and I'm actually glad we got all of those new releases out of the way this week, because our next episode will come after a 1 week longer gap, and we'll be talking about the first big movie this summer, Captain America: Civil War.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, so I would expect that we'll be spending the bulk of our discussion time on that. So I'm glad we got the Huntsman out of the way.
I'm glad we talked about Jungle Book. I got to be honest, when I saw the trailer for that, I thought that's something I may see someday.
Yeah,
but I really enjoyed it. Anyone can enjoy it. I think adults can go see it on their own and enjoy it. Kids can enjoy it. That was a really fun movie. I'm glad I saw it.
It's absolutely worth watching if you haven't seen it. Whether you have a family or not, it's worth seeing.
Mm-hmm.
And as we wrap things up, Brian, anything you want to hype up to the audience?
Yeah, I have the current issue of Bob's Burgers comic book that's out in stores right now, Volume 2, Issue 10. I wrote a story in it. So go out and check that out. You can get that pretty much anywhere, any comic book store or online digital copies.
And again, I want to emphasize, check it out. It's really fun. Do give it a listen, because you will definitely enjoy it.
Yeah, thanks.
Anything else, Brian?
No. Is there something I should?
No, I'm just giving you the option.
That's all. Yeah.
Well, as for me, you can find me online at Zaki's Corner. That's zakiscorner.com. That's my website. I'm also at the Huffington Post, where my film reviews and this show go up regularly. I'm also on Twitter at Zaki's Corner. As far as the Movie Film Podcast, you can go to moviefilmpodcast.com, as well as our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/moviefilmpodcast. The show is also at iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and TuneIn Radio. However you access podcasts, you can probably find our show. But please do go to iTunes, go to Stitcher, go to TuneIn, and leave us a review, leave us a star rating, even if it's just one sentence, even if it's just one word. Put that in there, add it to the number, because the numbers help us. And please subscribe to the show. If you dig what we're doing, hit subscribe, because again, those are the numbers that really matter. And we hope to keep giving you the content that you enjoy. We do have some listener letters and whatnot that I'm going to save for next time. But until then, my name is Zaki Hassan, and on behalf of my friend Brian Hall, this is the Movie Film Podcast. See you next time as we talk about Captain America: Civil War. Thanks for listening.
Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. Movie Film Podcast, enjoy the show. Zaki and